God's Way Radio presents Ask a Cop, authentic community engagement with law enforcement professionals, an opportunity to get raw answers to your real questions. In the same way that officers can never know what to expect on their shift, Ask a Cop is live and unscripted. You'll find that these men and women are approachable and eager to answer your questions. Get ready to Ask a Cop. You're listening to Life for Jesus, and the first Tuesday of every month, we have Ask a Cop programming. We want you to not only get to know our law enforcement is here not only to serve and to protect, but they're part of our community. They're part of life. And so this morning, I'm honored to have Chief Manuel Morales with us here. And Chief, I want you to say good morning.
Good morning to everyone, and thank you very much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a joy to have you. You could call, you can text 786-313-3115. Any questions that you have about law enforcement, you want to know about the profession, you want to know about the benefits, you want to know about the challenges, the blessings, the bummers. Hey, we're here. We're here for you today, live for Jesus family. It's 7:22, and we want to know who's listening, who's going to text, or who's going to call. Any question you have, not only Ask a Cop, this morning we have Ask the Top Cop. So it's I'm excited about being here this morning. Listen to a little bit of music. Don't you go away. We're coming right back.
Yeah, all things are possible when we believe, and old chains are breakable when we receive Yahweh. You keep your promise.
We believe it. That's right. It's important. You know, this morning we started with Psalm 7. Hey, we're getting a call. That's exciting, Chief Morales. Hey, they're calling already. So let's go to this call. Good morning. You're on the air. What area town are you calling from?
Good morning. I'm calling from the Heights.
Hey, Richmond Heights is in the house. Good morning to you. We have the top chief of City of Miami Police Department here with us as a guest in Life for Jesus. You may have a question. We're listening. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I don't have a question, but I do want to say thank you for answering the call on your life to be able to be one that serves and protects. When Pastor Rass was talking, all of a sudden I just visioned, the angels of the Lord that serves around the throne that protects the glory of God. And I just pray for the force, and not only just in Miami, but the forces around the world for those that did answer the call. It was not a call of my life to answer, so therefore that wasn't my thing. But to just say thank you, and I pray the spirit of protection and the will of God, not only for his life, but all the lives, and even the people that just went in it because of the benefits. I pray that they begin to have a heart for God's people and the tolerance to serve and protect people that really sometimes, just don't know the whole matter of the thing. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. God bless you, protect you and your family, and the Force family, as well as your, your natural family. And thank you, Pastor Az.
Hey, thank you. As you hang up, I'm sure the Chief has got some words that he's going to respond. Thank you for your call this morning, 786-313-3115. We're waiting for other listeners to call. If you have a question, if you have a comment, we're here. Chief Morales is our guest this morning. Chief, maybe you want to say something to our caller, Carol from Richmond Heights.
Yeah, good morning, Carol, and thank you very much for the great wishes and the good prayers that obviously we need it each and every day. And I think you're right. This is not only a career or profession, it's a calling. It takes a special type of individual with goodness in their heart, with clarity of mind and soul to be able to do the right thing when you're out on the street and facing the adversities that this noble profession puts in your way. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You're listening to Life for Jesus here, 104.7 FM, God's Way Radio. Our program this morning, Ask a Cop. You have a question, you have a comment. We have Chief Morales with City of Miami Police Department. It's a pleasure to have him. And we have one call already. We have a text message. You could also text 786-313-3115. And so we have a question. This is an interesting question here, Chief. It comes from Pembroke Pines. I know the person that's texting. She happens to be a mother of two BSO deputy sheriffs. And so she's asking, hey, welcome, Chief. are your hires eligible for getting the $5,000 that DeSantis, the governor, has made available for any law enforcement that's transferring from out of any state in the nation into our state of Florida? Maybe you want to speak on the subject.
Yeah, good morning, everyone, and thank you for the text. I hope both your law enforcement children are doing well and are safe at this time. And yes, we are. If anyone, we just closed our application process back in November. We got 1,000 applications in record time.
Wow.
Some say that it's because we had an incredible recruitment video that went viral, highlighting the great many units in the city of Miami, but also the incredible community we serve. But yes, once you get certified, it is my understanding that if you come from out of state, you apply, you get hired, you go through the academy. Once you get certified, you get that $5,000 bonus.
So there you go, Ms. Pembroke Pines. You could pray for those that will apply with the City of Miami Police Department. And, you know, I have to say something. Our previous caller, and Chief, I would like to have you comment on this and ask you some questions here. Because sometimes people think that law enforcement, people go for that profession for the benefits. And I'm wondering if in the world that we live in today, you know, the stigma, the lack of appreciation on some segment of our society, I'm wondering if anyone in their right mind would look at benefits and want to get into law enforcement. And so as I give you an opportunity to think, I'm wondering what made you choose and decide the honorable profession of law enforcement?
So, Pastor Raz, let me tell you something. I think it's challenging times for law enforcement. We've been through our ups and downs. For me, it's always been an incredibly personal and financial beneficial career. I don't regret the choice that I made some 28 years ago to come into a profession. Mm-hmm. But I think that it's definitely a combination. You have to weigh your options when you're coming in the field. I mean, cops, for the vast majority, especially in South Florida, do get paid very well. They do have the ability to make additional money if you're working some extra jobs. So the financial aspect of the profession is there. But let me tell you, it's a hard profession. You work nights and weekends, where most of the folks are out and enjoying their family. We're out at work. So if we think about Thanksgiving that just passed, or Christmas that's going to come up, and New Year's, while most of the residents of Miami are with their families, gathered in prayer and enjoying a good time, the vast majority of the cops are out there working to make sure that they're able to safely do those activities. So it's a tough profession, but it's definitely a rewarding one, and one that I don't regret getting into.
Good. You know, of all the departments, all the agencies that you could have chosen to be part of, to represent Miami Police Department, I'm wondering why that one?
So it's a little bit of a long and maybe silly story, right?
Okay.
But I've always wanted to be a cop. Well, not always, right? And I wanted to be an astronaut. Then I found out I was afraid of heights, so that was out the window.
That's a good one.
And but since I can remember, I wanted to kind of help folks. And when I graduated high school, 17 years old, I was a little too young to join the police force, so I decided to go to the second best route. I joined the United States Army as a military police officer.
Wow.
So I did almost 4 years there. I had a couple of overseas transfer, and I can tell you that being a cop in the military is nothing like being a cop in the civilian world. You do some patrolling, but vast and large, we were out getting deployed in some overseas conflict. Panama in 89 with General Noriega, and the first Gulf War in 90 and 91. So it was difficult times. But when I got back and I got out of the Army, I still had that passion, that burning desire to serve my community in a different capacity. So I started looking around the city of Miami. I'd had a very close friend that was a member of the City of Miami Police, and he loved it. Despite a lot of the turbulence that we had in the 80s with the Miami River Cops. That's a dark chapter in our history that we're glad we're past, but lessons were learned from that. Yeah. So I applied with several departments, but God saw that in my heart, the city of Miami was the place for me, and I'm fortunate to have been there for going on 28 years in a career that I often look back and I'm amazed that I have been able to achieve some of the things with the Lord's help and put me in my current place.
Hey, thank you so much for that. If you just tuned in, you're listening to Life for Jesus. First Tuesday of every month, we're going to be doing this, Ask a Cop. Is a program that we're going to do to introduce law enforcement to the community so they know law enforcement a little bit closer, a little bit better. And also for law enforcement to answer any questions. Part of what we do, part of what law enforcement does is they protect, they serve, but they also help community. Chief Morales, I always say it's that thin line between sanity and insanity in the world that we live in. You know, it's sad when you think about that 14-year-old boy riding his bike that comes across, I have no other way of putting it, as a human being, but acting like a monster that just begins to stab. And it's true, you have mental illnesses, you have all these conditions, but something is happening in our society. I believe that there's a breakdown in valuing life, you know, in treasuring life. And here you have a 14-year-old teenager, you know, that, and I think about the mom, I think about the parents. So anyway, all of that to say that law enforcement is that thin blue line. 786-313-3115. You can text us. You can call us. Come on, Life for Jesus family. We want to hear from you. Do you have any questions? Anything that you want to ask law enforcement today? I'm going to come back. We're going to listen to a little bit of music. And then, Chief Morales, I want to come back with the question of, you've been blessed, like you said, military police, law enforcement here, Miami Police Department, and you've been blessed that you've been able to rise among the ranks and be able to be in a place where you not only serve and protect, but you influence other law enforcement agents. And I've been watching you. You know, we don't want to date ourselves, but when I started, I also have more hair. And I've watched you how you're not only there to influence law enforcement below you, but I've seen you influence the brass that's above you. You know, you've served well. And so we got a phone call coming in. We got two phone calls coming in. Hey, that's exciting. I'm going to put one on hold, so please don't hang up. I'm going to put the other one on hold. Let me see if I was taught how to do this properly. Okay, so we're going to go to a phone call. Good morning, Life for Jesus. You're on the air. What area of town are you calling from?
Yes, this is Pembroke. Sorry to double dip here.
All right. So Pembroke Pines not only send us a text, they're on the phone. Go ahead. We're listening.
Well, I can't help but call and tell the chief, you know, just we totally support everything for you guys. Every department, everywhere. We're always praying for you. Just, you know, praying for every single thing, from the dogs to the cars to the chief, you know, whatever. I love this program because it makes you guys so approachable, and that's the perfect word that Pastor Rez used, because it's terrible the way the community has gotten, where like police have leprosy, you know, you can't talk, you have to, you know, and it's so wrong. I like this. I think we'll break that hopefully a little bit. I was just going to say that. The new hires, when I got hired in my job, I had the whole wrong attitude in the profession I went into, but God got a hold of my heart and He changed it. So hopefully that will happen, you know, with people that are going into it for the wrong reason. But I'm making actually comments just to inform that the church I go to, which is in Broward, but it's available to anybody, has a first responders, like a support group there. I don't know when they meet, but it's on the website for the church, Calvary Chapel, Fort Lauderdale. And also our church just bought a big food truck, so that if there's any kind of incident anywhere, they said anywhere, they're going to take their little food truck. It's going to be big, actually. And take it down and feed the first responders and stuff. So wow. Just to let you know that that's available. I mean, I don't know when it's available, because supposedly it's a Christmas present for Jesus. That's what they said in church. But that's going to be available. So if you ever need, like, you know, if you feel like you need support or something, you know, it's Calvary Chapel, Fort Lauderdale. Just to let you know.
Thank you very much. Sounds like a lot of good things happening over there in Pembroke Pines. We truly appreciate the offer. God knows we know we need all the prayers we can get.
Well, we're always watching Miami too, you know.
Hey, Jeannie, thank you so much for your call. We're going to go to the next call. God, all the best to you and to your two sons that also serve and protect. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to the next caller right here. Good morning. You're on the air. By the way, if you want to call, 786-3133-115. If you have a question, a comment for law enforcement, Ask a Cop Tuesday. You're on the line right now. Good morning. What area town are you calling from?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. How old are you?
I'm 9, and I don't know what town we're calling from, but I know we're calling from Miami City.
Awesome.
9
One
years
of the
old.
residents.
Good.
That's great.
Good. What do you want to say to Chief Morales this morning?
I'd like to say a big thank you to him for protecting us, and how he serves us without taking any big breaks, like a day break or stuff. Because I wasn't able to.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We truly appreciate it. That is exactly why we do and for whom we do what we do, right? It's for all the great folks that are out there showing us the support that gives us the strength and the desire to get up each and every morning and do our best to serve the community and keep them safe from all those that wish to do them harm.
Hey, I have a question for you. Do you like to pray?
Yeah.
Good. Would you like to say a prayer for Chief Morales and all the law enforcement of Miami Police Department? If you want to say a short prayer, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go here. Dear Lord, thank you for everything and these police officers who protect us and take their breaks to serve us and to serve you, Lord. Keep on blessing them and help them be safe while they're protecting us. And please help there be less bad people out there so that they can have more breaks to enjoy time with their family. And in your name we say amen.
Amen. You know, for a 9-year-old, you've done great this morning. Chief, you want to say anything?
That was impressive. I appreciate that. I'm going to carry that in my heart throughout the day and this holiday season. It's going to give me strength to go out there and do what's right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We love you. Okay, so 786-3133-115. You can call, you can text. I have a text message here. It says a hurtful moment, a healing moment. I have another text message here that says, what would you say are important qualities for a police officer? So as we have the chief answer that question, remember, you can text me. If you let me know what area town you're texting from, that will be helpful. 786-3133-115. Ask a Cop. And so we got another text coming in from New Hampshire, Chief. We got people listening from all over. That's exciting. But the question on the table right now is, what would you say are important qualities for a police officer?
Well, that's I think you pick all the good ones and you kind of put a check by them, right? You need somebody that's committed to serving the community. You need someone who has integrity to do what's right. And you're going to have some courage, because let me tell you, there are going to be moments that are going to test your fortitude, that are going to test your inner core as you're getting down and you're arriving at a call of shots being fired. So you need all that and definitely a little compassion. You're going to see some of the things that society's not meant to see, right? I often tell folks that it's what happens to police officers is time after time, you see the worst society has to offer. Yeah. So it's hard to get up each and every day and to look at the bright side. Right? So it a lot of officers kind of take a posture where they let those feelings and they bottle them up inside, and they let their hearts be callous, and they just don't want to let anything in. And I think that's not the right thing. I tell the young cops, I said, you got to let the love, because there's a lot of love in the community. And even though we see a lot of horrible things, the vast majority of our community loves and supports us. And that's what we got to concentrate on. Let all the good stuff wash out the bad stuff, and do it all over again the next day.
Hey, you're listening to Chief Morales, Miami Police Department. This is WAYGLP, Miami, Florida. 104.7 FM on your radio dial, God's Way Radio. Every first Tuesday of the month, we have Ask a Cop. And on this Tuesday, December, we're blessed that we have the top cop here, Miami Police Department, that you can call if you have a question, if you have a compliment, if you have words of comfort. You can call 786-3133-115. You just heard the chief answer the question, what are the qualities that we would desire in a police officer? And the four, I wrote them down because they're good. Commitment to serve the community, integrity, courage, and Chief, I love the fact that number 4, you blew me out of the park there, compassion. And I like that because in a moment, Chief, I'm going to ask you, do you have a large family? Do you have a small family? Do you have siblings? Do you want to say something about your parents or your grandparents or your aunt and uncle? Who was influential in your life? And you know where I'm going with this question. I want you, the listeners, to know that law enforcement, human beings, somebody's son, somebody's uncle, somebody's aunt, somebody's niece. And you're going to hear in a moment 786-3133-115. But we're going to listen to a little bit of music here, and we'll be right back. Don't you go away.
Fallarás en la espera, en el Dios que siempre es fiel, sé que lo obrará, yo sé que obrarás. Silbaré, cantaré, aunque esté en el valle, silbaré, te exaltaré.
Hey, yes, I will. That's a song in Spanish. And so we have Chief Manuel Morales with us today, Chief of City of Miami Police Department right now. You can text us if you have a question, ask a cop. I have a something on the tank here from New Hampshire. But Chief, before I get this text message, I want to go to you and maybe you want to answer the question, a family member in your life that was influential. Is your family large? Is your family small? Whenever you're ready, Chief, go ahead. We're ready.
So a little bit of a large family on my mom's side. She was one of 7 brothers and sisters. So wow. I had a large contingent of cousins that we kind of grew up together. So a very tight-knit family. On my dad's side, we're a little smaller. But definitely my mom was one of the biggest influence. She was the strict disciplinarian in my house. My dad was very low-key. Right. But she definitely kept me on the straight and narrow, myself and my 2 brothers. And, I give her credit for being able to kind of manage 3 large boys. Wow. Kind of growing up and to set each of us. My younger brother is with the federal government, is right. Customs Border Patrol. And right. My youngest one, unfortunately, passed away in Y2K. But he definitely had a bright future ahead of him. Wow. So I every day when I go out there, I kind of live in his memory, thinking, hey, what would my younger brother Omar would have wanted me to do today to make Miami better?
It's interesting, Chief, because what I get from that, family man, you've been blessed, a lot of good things, but also moments of suffering. You see that note there. And you're listening to Life for Jesus. We have Chief Manuel Morales, Miami Police Department here, Ask a Cop Tuesday, first Tuesday of the month. Chief, let's go to this text message all the way from cold New Hampshire. It says, good morning. Thank you to the Chief and all the others in law enforcement for your bravery, your commitment, and the sacrifice it takes to protect and to serve. I so appreciate each one of you. My heart is heavy, though, for those who are hurting, whether it's the officers themselves or the families of law enforcement. Some have suffered much loss. Others than the obvious would would you be so kind as to suggest any prayer request, anything you want this listener from New Hampshire to be praying for you and for the law enforcement officers and Miami Police Department? They end their text message by saying, "God bless you. We love you here in New Hampshire." You didn't expect to get some listeners from New Hampshire this morning, huh, Chief?
No, I did not. But we certainly send warm wishes to them because they're going to need them up there. I know we're sweating down here in balmy 80-degree weather. They're out there in a little bit of a colder climate. But if you could this weekend keep Sergeant Matthew Garrett in your prayers, we're going to be sending him off to the Lord this Saturday. He tragically passed away at a very young age from medical complications last week. So if you could keep Sergeant Garrett in your prayers, I would truly, truly appreciate that.
Yeah, one of our own City of Miami Police Department sergeant that was found in his home unresponsive, and it's interesting, law enforcement on the streets, protecting, serving, seeing, responding to calls, children, grown-ups, adults that die. But when it hits one of our own, it's funny because it brings all those feelings out. It brings all those emotions out. Thank you, New Hampshire, for that request. Pray for the officers, the department, as they go through our own sorrow, grief, and loss at this moment. Chief, I have another text message here from 5554. You know who you are. Someone who has patience and ability to de-escalate situations. Chief, maybe you wanna speak on that because in the television we see a different side of law enforcement. We think we could come in there and boom bang, like the old days of Batman, and it's not that way at all. But here it says, can you speak to someone who has the patience and the ability to de-escalate a situation? Wow.
So thank you for the text this morning. I think that's absolutely true. You need to have that quality as well. When you encounter a situation, you get there, lights and sirens are blaring, your adrenaline's pumping, and then you get to a situation, you got to have the coolness, the calmness, the soundness of mind to be able to recognize a situation for what it is, whether it is a situation where you have to use force or whether it's something that would benefit from de-escalation and bringing things down and calm. We absolutely train our officers to de-escalate the situation by creating time and distance, meaning, creating that distance away and handle the situations accordingly, mainly with either subjects that are unarmed and are posing a threat or subjects that are armed with a non-firearm weapon. A knife is kind of difficult to kind of de-escalate when somebody has a weapon, even though we certainly do practice that. But our officers are well-versed, and we have been blessed that we have not, knock on wood, had an officer involved shooting in quite a few months, and it's tough. It's tough. No officer, regardless of what you hear out there, no officer gets up in the morning saying, "I'm going to do harm to someone." Nobody wants to be involved in that. It is something that weighs heavily not only in your mind but your soul. And in today's climate, it's something that is going to get scrutinized. And if you kind of look at it, you brought a great point, right? We see it in the news each and every day. But kind of think about it. 18,000 police departments across the United States. Almost a million officers, 800,000 in change. Wow. And you only see the very few incidents that go awry. Yeah. You never see all the heroic, courageous actions that officers show up in a very tense situation and are able to de-escalate and calmly make the situation come to fruition. So it's a blessing.
It's a great point, Chief, that you bring out how so many of these officers, and so often I think that if the average citizen had an opportunity to walk in the shoes of law enforcement, even if it's for a short time, you get to those calls that there's blaring hatred, anger, animosity, explosive situation, and to see an officer come in and able to calm it down, drive away, clear the call, and that doesn't get reported. That should get more reported more daily, right, Chief?
Absolutely, yeah. And It's good to every once in a while. I think one of the good things of social media now is that we're able to highlight that, right?
Yes.
We're able to highlight those situations when officers have done a great, phenomenal job, and they're out there, helping out kids with our police athletic league, or doing something good for our elderly community, like taking out food, and we'll be doing that for Christmas, where we take out the meals and we deliver it to our seniors in our community. But that's a window that not many people see, and it's hard to walk a mile in somebody's shoes, but they can ride for a night or a day. If you're interested and you want to do a ride along with the Miami Police Department, you can contact our social media through one of our many social platforms and do a background check, and you're off and riding, and you can get a little glimpse of what officers do each and every day.
Interesting. Thank you for that, Chief. It's a funny thing. I was looking at that the clip from Flagami, where yourself and some of command staff, they went there to an elderly environment. Or people that are more advanced in years. Let me put it that way.
Golden agers.
Yeah, golden agers, and there was good music playing on, and I saw you burning some souls there too, Chief. You got some moves, and so we might get back to that, but you could say a little bit of that, because law enforcement, they're not only looking out for the kids in the PAL program, but also the senior golden agers that we have.
Yeah, right. So now it's a full service, and one of the things that we talked about earlier was, is there more protect than serve, right? And I think that there's absolutely nowadays a lot more service, right? The vast majority of the calls that we get are people that need help, right? So we're there to serve. And thankfully, even though most of the nation has seen a spike in violent crime, we were experiencing close to 20% drop from what we saw in homicides last year. So the need
City
to
Miami.
Yes. So the protecting aspect that has gone down a little bit, which gives us a little bit more time to enjoy this beautiful Christmas season and service our community. And the event that you're talking about, it's an annual event that we do at Curtis Park, where we bring our golden agers, and we have dinner, a little show, a little music, a little dancing. I was doing a little salsa and a little dancing contest. I only came in third place, but I'm going to be practicing, so next year we can take home the big prize.
You're listening to Live for Jesus, and every first Tuesday of the month we have Ask a Cop. We have different dignitaries, different law enforcement, different people of the law enforcement community stop by, and they're gracious enough to do it, and they're here. The phone lines are available. I have someone holding on the phone to be able to participate in the program. If you have a question for law enforcement agents, you can please go ahead and call 786-3133115. And I have a text message here that comes 3606. You know who you are. It says, God bless you. Praying for our brothers and sisters in blue. I have another text message here. It's one of our very own. He is a host of the program here on Thursday mornings, Ariel Sagre, one of our attorney family members. And he says here, thank you for your service. Yes, the overwhelming amount of the community supports law enforcement. What have you seen as effective ways for us to show law enforcement our support? So the question is, and I love this question. Thank you so much. And not only from Ariel, but I think you represent a lot of the community. And Chief, you already mentioned it, how it's not the majority that despises or rejects or resists law enforcement. It's really the minority. And it's funny because I've seen even that minority, when they have problems, who do they call? Yeah. They call the same law enforcement that they so often attack and resist. But the question here is, what would you say would be something that we, the community, can do to show our support for law enforcement?
Absolutely, and thank you for your text. The absolutely most effective way to doing it is just walking up to an officer and tell them, thank you for your service, man. I think that as not only as a veteran, but as a first responder, that's one of the things that kind of lightens up your day. You definitely get uplifted when someone comes to you and thanks you for your service and wants absolutely nothing in return.
Yeah, that's, thank you, Chief.
So, and listen, cops are human beings. So I remember the very first time and the impact that it has. I still remember the house. Wow. In 1997, when I responded to one of the first calls in our South District, in reference to loud music at the neighbors, and I handled the call. We made them lower the music, and then I went back to the complainant and I gave them an update. and it was a golden ager, una abuelita. And I cannot tell you the shock I was in when she goes, "You want a little cafecito?"
Wow.
I was like shocked. I'm like, it's like 2 a.m. I'm like, no, you don't, no, I know you work all night.
Wow.
And the warmth that brought to my spirit that day, I can tell you that I was riding on cloud nine that week for a long time. So those small acts, giving an officer a water bottle, a little pat on the back, and thank you for your service goes a very long way. So thank you very much.
Chief, you just reminded me of that commercial long time ago when I used to watch more of the screen and commercials, where you have that football player, the little kid gives him the Coke, and the football player takes off the jersey.
Mean Joe Green. Mean Joe Green and the Coca-Cola.
Gives you remember it well. And it's funny because it works both ways. Like in that commercial, obviously you have the star, the athlete, recognizing the little kid. But here we have the law enforcement agent. Chief, I so appreciate that. 24 years ago, that act of kindness, and you still remember it. I hope for you, the listening family here, man, that would be encouragement that you might get the thank you might not, but how it impacts someone's life throughout their life. I have 2 people holding on the phone. Thank you for your patience. We're going to get right to you. Please don't move. Don't go away. But I got to get this text, 0877. You know who you are. It says, this past weekend, there were lots of school threats in South Florida. What would you say to those who are scared to go to school today? I've heard of students not wanting to go to school. Any info on the credibility of those threats, Chief?
It is a topic that bears heavy on everyone's mind today. I know we worked very closely yesterday with the Miami-Dade School Board Police. We had a threat to Miami High, where we were able to assist that police department in making an arrest of a 15-year-old man. And it's kind of sad to have those troubling incidents come out to light, but we take those threats very seriously. I encourage every single parent to have a talk with their kids. A lot of them don't realize the seriousness and the consequences of their actions. Some of them might take it as a joke. That is absolutely not a kidding topic. We take that very, very seriously. You've seen the tragedies around the nation, and most certainly the last ones in Michigan.
Yes.
So we go above and beyond in the investigation and the apprehension of anyone who would threaten a school, even if it is, especially if it is a juvenile or a child that's going to attend. So I was kind of shocked yesterday when I was unaware of a lot of them. Like you, my day goes by pretty busily, so I'm not able to see all the
events,
the news. But my son kind of briefed me when I got home and says, "Hey, Dad, what happened with all those threats to schools from, I believe it was Palmetto and a couple other ones in Broward." So it was an anomaly to have all those very close by together at the same time. But talk to your children and make sure that they understand that that's not a topic to play with. And more importantly, that if they see something, they say something. If they hear something, they need to say something.
Good. Thank you so much. You're listening to Life for Jesus. First Tuesday of every month, Ask a Cop. We're going to dedicate the programming to having different representatives of our law enforcement community to come in. You can call, you can text. I have 2 people holding on the phone here. Chief, again, it's good. I got to ask the Chief a question. I'm going to go to some music. I'm going to come back. Those of you that are holding on the phone, when we come back, we're going to get to you. Hey, don't go away. This program, although time is almost done, it might be just getting started. You never know. Stick around.
Just how sweet your mercies are, Lord. Could you remind me to need you? Cry to name.
Hey, I apologize for those of you that called. I had you holding on so long. I'm so excited. You know, I've done this for years, but I'm still learning to do it. Love radio, love the dynamics of radio. You never know who's listening. You never know what's happening. You never know what God is doing. All you know is the program today is Life for Jesus. You know that we have Chief Manny Morales in the house as a guest. We also have Chaplain Adrian here with us. Adrian, I apologize that we haven't been able to get to you so much, but we get you here all the time. The Chief, he's not always here, so I hope you understand.
Oh, I prefer it this way. This is great to hear people listening. I got a couple text messages of some majors in the county and different people just, all around the county tuning in. So
it might be a good time to make that plug for Law Enforcement Appreciation.
Well, if you are law enforcement and you're listening, we have a lunch that we do in January 14th.
Yeah.
I did see an RSVP already for the Chief.
Thank you for that, Chief.
I'll be there.
Now I just said it on air, so now no compromiso.
Well,
but
we understand things. We understand things come up. We understand things come up.
First.
So he did. It was one of the first.
Right. Thank you so much.
The City of Miami's on it. But policeThankYou.com if you want to. If you are law enforcement and you want to come out to that lunch, we do it every year. PoliceThankYou.com just to RSVP your spot. Looking forward to it this year.
And one of the good reasons to mention it is we ask for your prayers. So I wish I could do this every month, but at least once a year we try to bring in representatives of law enforcement. We don't have the facilities for all the law enforcement, but we try to bring representatives and just show genuine love. One of the things about law enforcement, you're in the streets, so you could read people. You could know when there's an agenda, when there's strings attached. When there's and so we're trying to greet them and have them and just show them, hey, no agendas. We appreciate who you are, what you do, and we pray that will be contagious and touch other people. So you could pray for that. It's 8:00 in the morning. Normally we go to our next program, but the programmer has conceded their time, so we're going to go a little bit longer here. So I want to ask you to please call your friends, call your neighbors, have them tune into 104.7 FM, God's Way Radio, or download the application, and then they can listen anywhere, anytime, from any place. Let's go to this caller here, Chief. I wonder who they are, and they've been here on the phone waiting. Good morning. You are on the air. What area town are you calling from?
St. Petersburg.
Man, St. Petersburg. That's far. Jorgito, we have Chief Manny Morales from Miami Police Department here today. Do you want to ask any questions?
Yes. We continue to pray for you guys, man. Awesome job they're doing, protecting us. I know they got families to take care of, but man, they're risking their life, and it's awesome. I was one of them. One of the officers from the city of Sweetwater came up to me and told me, George, now you made it easy for us. Now we don't have to chase you anymore. and I go, God bless you, bro. God bless you, bro. You know how many officers were chasing me? They used to call me Speedy Gonzalez, but now they call me the Turtle.
Georgie the Turtle.
Yeah, man. You know why? Because, man, I decided to surrender to God, and it's been a blessing, and to make it easier for law enforcement and people going after me, and they come up to me and they tell me, how did you do it? I cannot explain. Just explain it to an old man that pounded in my head for 5 years. 5 years in my head, and I came to my senses, and I go, you know what? I'm going to try it. And I tried it, and it was the best thing that I ever did, man. So
Jorgito, thank you so much for your call all the way from St. Petersburg. I'm glad that God's Way Radio reaches there, and I'm glad that your love is reaching us here today. And I didn't know you had that comedian streak in you. You went from Speedy Gonzalez to the Turtle. That's pretty good.
Yes. and pray also for Cary Chapel, because I'm trying to do the same thing you guys are doing with the police officer. We're trying to.
Good for you, man. I hope it's catching. Yeah, we'd like to see it all over the state. Just a Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. It's an official federal holiday and day recognized and designated for that in the month of January. Hey, thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Hey, you're listening to Live for Jesus. The program this morning is Ask a Cop. We have Chief Manny Morales here in the studios. He is live. You can call, you can text, and I know that we're doing something different. We usually have our audience base from 7 to 8 in the morning, but we're going a little bit longer here in case you have questions. We'll stay as long as you text us or call us. When I say as long, that's up to like 8:30, of course. The chief does have things that he has to get to. Chief, I have a text here. It says if you want to make any comments about what Austin, Texas Police Department did. And I'm not sure I know that, so maybe I'll give us a good thing we have techie Adrian here that can maybe Google that, or maybe you that texted us that question, maybe you can text us more information. Of course, we're trying to keep it on a lighter note if possible, but we'll be led by God. Anyway, I got another text here from 1632. So grateful for all that you do for us. My question is, how are you coping with the hate and the rejection of so many when you know that you're putting your best day in and day out there? Thank you. Chief, if you want to address that whenever you're ready.
It's not easy going out there and know that there's some adversity that you have to face, but you got to realize that perhaps those folks that are sending those bad feelings towards you, it's not personal. They don't know you. They're merely reacting to perhaps a negative experience that they had with a law enforcement officer previously. God knows if as a child they had a traumatic experience where one of their loved ones was taken to jail by an officer. Mm-hmm. So you have to understand that first and foremost is nothing personal. It's not against it. It's not against Manny Morales. It's against the uniform, and you have to overcome that. Good. And what a sense of satisfaction comes when you're able to go to a situation and you face adversity, perhaps a little bit of hate, and you're able to turn that view around by your actions, by your manners, by the way that you talk to folks, and the way that you deliver that first-rate professional law enforcement services to the community. That's the biggest victory right there. When you're able to turn a hater into a supporter, wow, that's powerful.
Chief, I so appreciate what you're saying. I two old-letter words come to my mind. You know, sometimes we look at opposition and we fail to realize it's an opportunity. You know, and I like what you said too, because some people, they've had a bad experience and they're relating it to you. Don't take it personal. But there's something else that you said which is so valuable. Well, you didn't actually say this, but I think it's inferred. At least it came to my mind, which is sometimes people are just reacting to their programming. You know, and the program out there is, you know, stand against authority. That's the bottom line, you know, because there's agendas and there's things in the works and plan. But it's an interesting thing when the authority acts like authority. People will maybe respect and say, "Wow, you know, he had an effect." And I so appreciate what you bring to the table here. Hey, you're listening to the program Ask a Cop. Here, it's Life for Jesus. It's a segment of Life for Jesus that comes to you every weekday, 7 to 8. Here on God's Way Radio, 104.7 FM. We have Chief Manny Morales in the house. He's here ready to answer any questions that you may have for him. You can call 786-3133-115, and we'll do our best to get your call. For those that called and we couldn't get to you, forgive us. I feel so bad that I couldn't get to you earlier, but if you give us another chance, I hope to do better. Hey, we have a caller here, or someone that texts Chief 3977. It says, Levi is 8 years old. He had to go to class, but he wanted to ask, what's the funnest part of your job? I'm thankful for Levi, you know, and I'm thankful for this question, you know, because we do want to keep it on a lighter note. The question of this 8-year-old young man, he wants to know, hey, what's the most fun aspect of the job of law enforcement? And Chief, if you even want to say of your aspect in the place that God has allowed you to be in as the top cop, the one that leads the department, whenever you're ready, please answer that question.
So thank you to Levi or Levi's parents that are now texting us since he missed us and he had to go to school. I'm glad that he was on time and we didn't delay him. But for me now, I mean, my funnest moments are when I'm able to get the good, positive news from the folks that are riding in the streets, because my job kind of relegates me to the desk for a lot of paper pushing. However, from the younger days, obviously, it's still the relationship that you build, right? Wow. It's like a blue family. Wow. Coming to work and knowing that those folks that are going to be in your crew, in the team that you work with each and every night, it's going to be there support, to share, and to lift you up. But also going to some of the calls with lights and sirens, that's not boring. That's I don't want to say fun because it's kind of dangerous, and a lot of officers have been hurt. But the adrenaline that you get going to an emergency call with the lights and the sirens, if you do it in a safe manner, it does give you that jolt. Like if you drank, an energy drink, and you kind of shotgunned it,
Chief, I so appreciate the transparency and the honesty, and I gotta also hopefully put you more at ease. Not that you need to, because you're at ease, but it's good to know that other officers that have come here from different departments, they say the same thing, and there's an excitement. You got the lights on, and you're rushing, and of course there's training. You could even do that in a professional and a safe way, and the fact of the matter is, it's an emergency. There's a need to get to that call to be able to stabilize, to be able to provide what you are trained and prepared for. But I so appreciate the honesty. There is an excitement, a joy of like the challenge. I got to get there, and we're going to get there. Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. Hey, 786-313-3115. That's the phone number here. You can call if you have a question. You can also text us. This is your opportunity if you want to maybe call a family member. Maybe they have a question. Maybe they have a comment. We are here to receive your calls. We're here for you. This is the program Live for Jesus. Comes to you Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 8 in the morning. My name is Raz. I have the joy of being the host here. And the main reason I give you my name is because I want this to be personal. I would love to know your name. So when you text me, if you want to put your name, you can. I do give people the opportunity to, hold your identity for whatever reason. We're not trying to throw you under the bus or anything. So if you just tell me what area of town you're texting from, that would be wonderful. We're going to be here just a few more minutes. I know the chief has got a lot of things on his schedule. He's been kind to put some of his administrative responsibilities aside and come and be with us this morning. So we're here for you. Ask a cop. Do you have a question about law enforcement? And Chief, as we wait for the calls, we're going to ask some questions. I want to come back to you and maybe just ask you some kind of like simple things, like, do you have a favorite dish? I know, I believe, I haven't confirmed this, but I know me personally, I like those arroz con gandules, but especially I like the alcapurrias. I like those. My mom-in-law, she was Chinese Cuban, but she made the best pasteles. It was amazing, So I'm wondering if you like that, or you're just one of these just organic type of guys. I don't know. But anyway, do you have like a favorite sports? When it comes to martial arts, do you have a special school that you like? Is it judo? But anyway, we're going to get back to that. But we're getting a call here, and let's go to this call. Good morning. You happen to be online. What area of town are you calling from?
Yes, good morning, Pastor Raz. How are you? I'm calling from Kendall.
Good to have Kendall checking in. What would you like to say this morning?
Well, I would like to let Chief Morales know about something that probably he doesn't know, but I would like to take this opportunity. And after he leaves the program today, I want to make sure that he knows what I'm about to say, and he grabbed that and put him in his heart. Chief Morales, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Go ahead from Kendall.
All right, Mr. Morales, I want to let you know that in Calvary Chapel, Miami, you have a huge family that is lifting you and your whole department in prayer every single day. We pray for all the brothers in blue. We pray for you for the new task that the Lord has placed you in that department that is being very shaking for the past 6-7 months. So you need a lot of prayer, and the family that you have in Calvary Chapel, Miami, have that task to pray for you, to pray for your department, and to wish you only the best and success, for the glory be to the Lord. So I want to let you know that, sir, that you're not alone. You're not alone. We're here with you. We stand by you, and we will be praying for you. Once again, I'm sorry to repeat myself so much, but once again, I want you to grab that and put them in your heart, that every time that you go into any type of struggle, or every time you feel heavy heart, or every time you feel like it's hard to make the next step, think about Calvary Chapel, Miami, and the plus 800, 1,000 people. They're going to be praying for you and for your department, sir, and for your family. God bless you,
And that's all I have to say, sir.
Thank you very much, you and the family at Calvary Chapel. It's going to give us strength as we move forward through the holiday season. I know we have all the support out there in the community, especially since a lot of our cops live out in Kendall. So thank you very much.
Hey, thank you so much for that call. You actually hung up prematurely. I was going to put you to pray, say a short prayer, but that's okay. We understand. But I sense that contribution came from your heart, and so from heart to heart, it comes from your heart, and it's accepted, I'm sure, by the chief as a chaplain, the chaplain and the department. Thank you so much for that. Hey, 786-3133-115. That's the phone number you can call. You can text. We're going to listen to a little bit of music. We're going to come right back. Don't go away. We got a lot more stuff for you.
In the morning, praise you in the evening, praise you when I'm young and when I'm old, praise you when I'm laughing, praise you when I'm grieving, praise you every season of the soul. If we could see how much you're worth, your power, your might, your endless love, surely we would never cease to pray. Joining with the angels, praising you forever and a day. Praise you on the earth now.
Hey, that's the Calvary Chapel Miami worship team many years back, but we're still able to enjoy the work that God did, which brings to mind, how life is so much bigger than any person. Life is so much bigger than you, than me. And so as we go through life, if we make our contribution, I love the teaching of Jesus. Jesus says, man, when you lose your life, you find it. And so here, these people from Calvary Chapel worship team many years back, some of them I've lost touch with, some of them I know, but their music, their inspiration is still touching hearts. Hey, this morning you're listening to Life for Jesus, an extended version. We usually go from 7 to 8, but on the first Tuesday of every month, we have Ask a Cop. We're going to have a law enforcement member be here this afternoon at 3:30 in the program Refresh. We have Chief Landa from South Miami. He's going to be here with us this afternoon. So this is something that we do in live radio in the morning and in the afternoon. And Chief Morales is with us today, Miami Police Department Chief. It's a joy, it's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm sorry I didn't have pastelitos and more food with you. Maybe next time we have to build it up here. We can't do everything at once because then we have nothing to look forward to. But
absolutely, you gotta have a hook to bring me back.
Yeah,
right?
And you've been great. You brought your own coffee. I haven't been able to give you water. I feel at a loss here. But
as a cop, you gotta be ready. You gotta come to the scene ready to go. You gotta bring everything you need. You can't rely on the supplies to be there when you get there. Right?
That's a good one. That's a good one. Listen, if you have a question, this is your opportunity to do that. You could dial 786-313-3115. That's the phone number. You can dial it and we'll take your call live. If you want to text us, maybe you're one of those people that maybe you're a little bit more private, a little bit more behind the scenes kind of person. Well, we have the text services available for you. Any question, any comment you have about law enforcement, any questions about law enforcement, any questions about Miami Police Department, Chief, that brings to my mind, we didn't get to it. If you have like a specific food that you like, like, if you have a specific sport. Are you the kind of individual that you like opera, drama, you like acting, just to get to know you better. You don't have to even speak about yourself. You could always speak about law enforcement that you've experienced. But just trying to get the listeners to realize, hey, law enforcement agents, they're human beings. They're average day people. They have emotions. They have feelings. Chief, I'm talking too much, so help me.
Yeah, so thank the Lord this is radio, right? So if it was TV, the listeners would realize that I'm a big guy and I love all kinds of food.
Good.
Who doesn't love the holidays and coming and having, my wife makes a phenomenal, almost too good to eat sweet potato casserole.
I like that. I like that. Good.
That is hard to resist. That's one of my favorite holiday foods.
Good.
But on the topic of cops being regular folks, and you were mentioning if the callers didn't want to use the phone to text, that we're a little bit more behind the scene. I think I'm a little bit like that. I'm a little bit more behind the scene. I'm a homebody. You can imagine long hours, a lot of stress at work. Many complaints and difficulties that come your way each and every day. Yeah. Every day brings a new challenge, right?
Yes.
So I do enjoy time spending it at home with my family, my kids. I'm happily married to my wife Yvette, and I have 4 not so young boys anymore. The oldest, Manny, Matthew, who coincidentally lives with Georgie the turtle in the St. Petersburg area. And Eddie and AJ that still live at home here in Miami. So that is what brings me joy. I try to take advantage of every little bit of downtime to spend it with the family and have a good time at home.
I like what you're saying. I like what you're saying because it just brings it to light. It brings Chaplain Joey Alcala has walked in. You don't have to go away. We're not charging here. You could stick around if you want. It's interesting, Chief, that man, you're a dad, you're a husband, you're a son. You spoke about your mom, and it's good to know that next time you have maybe thoughts of law enforcement agent that may be not the best thoughts, or maybe the best thoughts, to remember that we are in this, and we are in this together. Someone is a mechanic, someone is an attorney, someone is a soldier. We thank God for our military. Someone is in the medical field, but God knows, and we know that we need people in the law enforcement field that would be there not just to protect and to serve, but would be there also to influence our community. It's funny, you were saying that crime has gone down in the city of Miami, several double digits, as far as homicides are concerned.
Correct, and violent crimes.
And violent crimes. And so that's given law enforcement a little bit more opportunity to do more serving than the need to protecting, which is always welcome. And so he was mentioning how during the holidays you were able to go to Flagami area and have an activity for the Golden Agers, to just show appreciation, to mingle with them, to be with them. And part of that was a competition of dancing, salsa dancing. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if you, Chaplain, but the chief has got some moves. He was burning it. They gave him third praise because they figured you're the chief already. You have a reward, so they probably wanted to give somebody else the reward, right? But you're still practicing. You're coming back.
Absolutely. And my wife is a phenomenal dancer, so I told her, hey, for next year you got to get me ready.
All right.
Third place ain't going to cut it next year.
Good. Very good. Very good. Chief, by the way, you could call 786-313-3115. I break it up a little bit because I always used to give the phone number this one way, so I'm trying to do it a different way. Maybe you could remember 313-3115, and then you're able to call. Or if you wanted the more conventional way, 786-313-3115. You can text, you can call if you have a question, if you have a comment for Chief Morales this morning. Chief, I just got a text in from 2793. Let me read it for you. It says, first of all, I want to thank all officers for their service. With the rising cases of school shootings, what are police officers doing to make sure that anyone who threats to do a mass shooting is caught and actually punished? My daughter was in lockdown yesterday due to a code red at school, and 2 kids were found with guns at the school. Parents feel that not enough is being done to keep the kids safe at school. 2793, you didn't tell me where you were texting from. That's okay. But remember, anybody else that wants to text, please let me know where you're texting from. That would be so welcome. We also have a caller on the line holding. Please hold. Chief is going to answer this question that was presented from this text. Chief, whenever you're ready, please go ahead.
So that the topic of violence and specifically school shooting, where bears heavy on every law enforcement executive's mind. Right, and how do we keep our children safe, our most precious resource in our community, right? Those that are most vulnerable. So we work very closely, right? Not only with presence and enforcement around and in schools, we work very closely with the Miami-Dade School Board Police, which is, by the way, the largest school force police in the nation, even larger than Los Angeles. They're over 500 officers now, and Chief Edwin Lopez is doing a phenomenal job with his team there. Yeah. But that partnership, that collaboration between us and them, and how do we augment the visibility of the officers there, and we have a whole team in our real-time crime center and our intelligence analysts that kind of scour social media looking for those threats. So once we find them, we refer them, and we work closely also with our partners at the FBI and the federal authorities to track down whether it is a credible threat or not. And we take every single threatening message, post, very seriously. So we do our best to kind of track down who did it, where it came from, and to arrest them and prosecute to the full extent of the law.
Chief, thank you so much for that. The person that they texted back. They apologize. They said they're calling from Miami. By the way, no apologies needed. We welcome. I wanted to say for anybody else that's also texting, but thank you for correcting. It says my daughter goes to Braddock High School, and so I hope that the answer is putting you more at ease. It's being processed. There's direct, intense, dedication being given to this situation here. And I want to say to the listeners, as believers, man, there's the need to pray. It's a funny thing, Chief, and we don't have to go there, but they took prayer out of the schools. They took God out of the schools. They took Jesus out of the schools, and our schools have become a dangerous place. And, as we fight crime, there's things that are being done, but I'm hoping that there's believers that are praying for schools. And even though prayers supposedly are not in the school, I know every time there's a test given, there's prayer in school. Lord, help me pass this test, But listen, mom and dad, as you drive your kid to school, you can pray. You can pray for the students that you see, and God answers prayers, and He sees prayers. So I'm wondering, prayer is not only taken out of school. Sometimes prayer is taken out of the priority of our schedule. And so I just wanted to make that comment. But Chief, we have somebody holding on the line here. Let's go to this caller. I believe is Sweetwater. Good morning. You're on the air. What would you like to say to the Chief this morning, sir?
I want to thank him for being the authority that God has put in His place. And I want to share with him a little portion of the scripture, the blessing from heaven, and to read it afterwards when he has the time. This is Romans 13, 1 through 7, but I'm going to read only till 3. It says, let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. Therefore, whoever receives the authority receives the ordinance of God, and those who resist will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Do you want to be afraid of the authority? Do what is good. May I do that? Everyone that is listening.
Good.
God bless you, sir.
Hey, thank you. That's a good subject there. I'm sure the Chief wants to say something to you. So as you hang up, he's going to continue. And thank you for calling.
Well, thank you very much first for the thoughts and the call from beautiful La Ciudad Agua Dulce.
Sweetwater.
That's a great place. I have a lot of dear friends that are in the Sweetwater Police Department that are doing a phenomenal job there to take that department and that incredible city to the next level. But I think that those words from the scripture, they touch me deeply.
Yeah.
And every day that I get up, I pray the Lord give me strength to do the right thing, because I understand that I am the one responsible for not only the lives of every citizen in our city of almost 500,000, but for the lives and the decisions and the consequences of the actions that every member of our department of almost 1,400 makes each and every day.
Wow.
And I know the power that comes from above enlightens me to try to do my very best to make the decisions and rule and guide our department in a way that it is compassionate, fair, transparent. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate the thoughts and the prayer.
Thank you, Chief. You know, it's interesting. You bring to mind 1,400. Is that sworn and plus the civilian, or is that totality? I think it's...
That's sworn.
Sworn.
It's about 1,800 with the civilians.
Yeah, that's a lot of people to oversee and to manage, you know.
It's a lot of folks that depend on me to make the right call each and every day.
Good. So you're listening to the program Live for Jesus, a special segment every first Tuesday of the month. We have Ask a Cop. Today, our guest is Chief Manny Morales, and it's a pleasure to have him. We're coming to the wind-up of the program. Actually, I look at the clock, and our program is done. We had a great time. I have two chaplains here. I don't know if you chaplains want to say anything this morning. I wanted to give you the opportunity to say anything you have, and then we'll give the Chief the final words to be able to say see you later. Hopefully, Chief, we've treated you right, that you might want to come back on another. I don't want to be presumptuous, but at least you know from our side the invitation is extended. At 3:30 today, we're going to have Chief Landa with the South Miami Police Department. We've had other chiefs and we've had other representatives of law enforcement agents, but what a privilege to do this here at WAYG LP Miami, Florida, 104.7 FM, God's Way Radio. Chaplain Joey, Chaplain Adrian, you have any closing statements before the Chiefs has the final word?
Something that I don't know if it was mentioned. I tried to listen to the whole program. The police officers, and let's also pray for their families, wives, children, who want to see their dad or mom come home every day and come home in good health and in good spirits. So let's pray for the wife or the husband who's at home may be worried, and the kids who, as they're exposed to what dad or mom does, maybe they're going to be worrying, and we can pray for them.
Good. Adrian.
Yeah, continue to pray for City of Miami, all the departments. I believe that as the darkness increases, the light also is increasing in different areas, and we see it, and that there will be that unity that will continue amongst the departments and amongst that thin blue line and red line from, our fire. So may God continue to do that.
Good. Chief Morales.
So it was an absolute pleasure and an honor to be here, Pastor Raz. It's warm to be here with so many public servants, and for those listeners that don't know, all three of my co-hosts here are members of the City of Miami Police Chaplain Corps, which brings comfort and guidance and spiritual healing to the troops out there. I would absolutely love to come back at a time. And by the way, you're in for a real treat at 3:30. Chief Landa, it is a product of Miami Police. He retired from the City of Miami and now leads the South Miami Police Department. He is an incredible human being and an absolute great executive leader for that department. So South Miami is in definitely good hands. I pray he does very well, and I look forward to being here the next time.
Good. It's interesting how the City of Miami Police Department has made so many contributions. This morning, I went to roll call at FIU Police Department. We're supposed to go tomorrow, but I went a little bit earlier because of my scheduling. But they still brought me in. I was able to talk and pray. Chief Moss is there. Grass is there. So many people that have been trained and had their law enforcement career beginning in City of Miami. Chief Diaz, Placido Diaz, Herb Bello in Sweetwater, Carmona also. I mean, so many others. And Miami's got something on the ball, Chief.
You got that right, man. The roots that you put down while you're at the city of Miami are kind of spreading throughout South Florida, and we're going to be soon exporting it throughout the nation. So we'll see. Good things to come.
Good. Hey, we got a last text message here. Thank you, Chief, for your time, your heart, your thoughts. Thank God that He picked a good leader for MPD. God, we thank you. We thank you today for the privilege of having Chief Morales with us, that we would stay in prayer, that you would use him, give him wisdom beyond what he can even imagine, Lord. And the next season for Miami Police Department will be a season of just a great continuing contribution to our community. God, we thank you, and I pray in Jesus' name.
This has been another segment of Ask a Cop. Ask a Cop is a live call-in program featured on the first Tuesday of every month during the morning and afternoon live programs on God's Way Radio, 104.7 FM in Miami, Florida, or through the God's Way Radio app. Also, visit godswayradio.com for more details. If you missed the live program, you can listen to past episodes of Ask a Cop and find more resources at policethankyou.com. Again, that is all one word, policethankyou.com.